So hello and welcome back to my channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Saskia, and today I thought I'd do a different video from normal, but still on the negative tune of my last few videos, on all of my issues from my current estate agent. This will not get posted until I have moved out of this place, received our full deposit back, but I'm filming it now while I have somewhere to film it, because when I move out, I'm moving home and it's just not great filming. Also, might be a little bit dark, but if I open my curtains, my camera overheats, and because I talk for so long, it will definitely overheat. So, preface, we are with a student estate agent called King's Estates. We were not with them last year. Last year we were with a private landlord company kind of thing who we found through Open Rent. And they were okay. They did try and illegally charge us for cleaning fees, and then I sent them a message, and like, I don't think that estate agents realise that students are not stupid. As in, like, they said, oh, you have to pay to clean the mattresses and like steam the mattresses and steam the carpet, and I was like, okay, slay, but you're gonna have to give me evidence that this is required because by law that's illegal. And they said, okay, as a goodwill gesture, we'll remove it. And I was like, no, because it was illegal, you removed it. Last year we didn't have, I guess, that many issues with our estate agent or with our landlord. This year we've had a lot. And if you've watched my moving in vlog, that is when it all began, and it hasn't really got much better since then.
I've got no hair, but throughout this video you keep seeing me going like this because I cannot figure out for the life of me why my hair is two completely different lengths when I put it in front. I think I just picked up two different strands, but just put it aside, girls.
So again, I've got my iPad with all my notes. I'm just going to go through some different little bits. First bit is, this was before we had even moved in. I have a Spanish passport, preface. I'm born in the UK, live in the UK, British birth certificate, right to work in the UK, Spanish passport, but British. Jesus Christ, did they not want to accept this. I have a UK driver's licence, I have a UK birth certificate, I have the exact same amount of proof that I was born in the UK and live in the UK as my British flatmate. But my passport is Spanish, which I only gave them as an extra piece of ID. They didn't need it, but I thought I'll give them everything because they asked. And also, despite the fact that I was already renting in the UK when I moved to this tenancy, they would not stop asking me to prove my settlement status or prove my right to rent in the UK. I kept sending them, like, I said, oh, here are my proof of identity stuff, blah, 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 blah. And they said, thanks for sending it all through. Please can you follow the link below and complete the right to rent check. They would not stop sending me this link. And I clicked on it and I was like, okay, maybe there's something I've missed and I didn't have to do it last time, but maybe they're just doing it for safety. So I clicked on that. And then I was like, shit, I don't have a visa status and immigrant settlement number. Can't fill that in. So I said, oh, I think there's been some confusion. I'm not an immigrant, therefore I cannot prove my immigration status as I do not have one. As shown by both my passport and birth certificate, I was born in England, much like my flatmate who has not been requested to do this. How do I prove my immigration status if I am not one? They then said, apologies for the confusion, let me know if you have any questions. So I thought, okay, end of story, that's sorted, that's finished. No, it was not finished. They then sent us another email, I think after we'd sent the deposit or something, and they said, again, as we hold a Spanish passport for Saskia, we will need proof of settlement status, or we can send a link to carry out a share code. I again replied, how do I prove my settlement status? I never settled. I was born in England and still live here. My passport is British, my passport is Spanish, but I am English and have a birth certificate to prove so. How do I prove my British status to you? Would my birth certificate do, as it worked for my flatmate because they accepted theirs but not mine? They then pissed off again for a little bit. Again, they sent us another thing that was then, because you have a Spanish passport, you will need to prove your settlement statement. Because you do not have a British passport, you can therefore not prove that you can live or rent in the UK. Follow this link and it should help you out. And I said, not an immigrant, can't do it. They then said, you will be given a code to send us your right to check your right to rent, and your flatmate will need to do the same. I was like, are you just bringing her into it now because you felt like it was a bit targeted at me because of my Spanish passport? They eventually backed off. But then also they didn't, because we had moved in And I was like, we don't actually have a copy of our contract because they sent it to us by like DocuSign, so I didn't download it. Sent them another email saying, hey babe, can I have my contract? And they said, are you able to send your share code, please? After we receive it, we will be able to send you the tenancy agreement. I've already signed your contract. I already live here. You're more than happy for me to live here, but I haven't proved to you that I live in the UK and can work in the UK. They would not stop banging on about this right to rent thing. I have the right to rent in the UK. I've done a right to work check I worked for the university for a bit and I did a right to work check for them. All I had to do was hold up my birth certificate, British, and they went, slay, perfect. These people did not communicate between one another. After that first email and that first time, they should have gone, oh, we should probably discuss this and have a look and maybe interact with the other people that work with us and go, shit, she's not an immigrant. Okay, tick that on a box on her profile so we don't have to keep asking her. Because I was then just continuously asked. They wouldn't stop asking me. I can't prove my immigration status, my settlement status. I have not settled. I live in England, have lived in England, have worked in England, have rented in England, have never lived anywhere other than England. But they wouldn't back off. They only eventually backed off a couple of months into our contract. But even then, when I asked them for our contract, they were like, babe, you're an immigrant. I was like, if I'm an immigrant and I don't have a settlement status, how have I proven my right? How have I got this house? How have you let me rent if I've not shown you my share code? That was fun. We then have, this is a little kind of niche point of drying clothes. So in our contract, it says, we cannot hang washing outside of the premises, but then it also says, we cannot hang wet clothes inside of the premises. Hear me out, where do the wet clothes go? Where do we hang our washing? I said, where do such wet clothes go? Because when they sent us our contract, I obviously sent them questions because I'm not stupid. And they said, oh, this is referring to making sure that washing is being hung in an appropriate, well-ventilated space, e.g. not out of your window. I was like, so why have you got stupid statements in your contract? So we've been washing our clothes and drying them in a well-ventilated space. We then, sometimes when they email us, they've just been finishing off with, just a reminder, please avoid drying clothes inside the property as this can cause mould growth, which is a potential health hazard. Why would you not be able to dry your clothes inside the property? Another message, again, just on a random email they'd sent us, please dry all clothes outside or in the laundry room. First of all, our laundry room is the size of a small bathroom, like you could fit a toilet in there and nothing else. And it's also disgustingly dirty, has never been cleaned in its life, and I'm not going to clean it because it's not my responsibility. But I'm not drying my clothes in there, and also it says on their contract we can't dry our clothes outside, so where are we drying them? And then on another email, just a reminder, clothes are not to be dried inside the house as this can cause issues with damp. Clothes must be dried elsewhere. No, but you've just said to me I can dry them in the house in a well-ventilated space, so where the fuck do you want me to dry my clothes? Again, this is do they interact with one another? Do they listen to what they're saying? Because where are we expected to dry our clothes? Outside in the garden that we've been told we cannot hang washing outside in, but also we're not allowed to use the garden. Or in the washing room, which is shared with 3 boys upstairs. You think all 5 of us can hang our clothes in that tiny washing room, which has space to hang one error in the dirtiest room possible. I'm actually not going to choose to do that. I've just changed the focusing on my camera, so I don't know if that's going to have helped, because I keep going out of focus and then back into focus. Then another thing, we are not bills included, but we have to share bills with the upstairs flat, right? When we first signed our contract, we were sent a document with uni homes saying there was a bills included option. And then we were told, no, you have to share bills with the upstairs flat, and we thought, okay, slay. We then, because we remembered seeing this uni homes thing, sent them an email saying, is there a bills included option? Because we thought cost of living's going up, if we can get a fixed tariff, bills included, it's going to be a lot cheaper. They then said no. I said, no, babe, there is, you showed us to it. We just didn't choose it the very second. There was a bills included option, but I don't know if they would actually give it to us because they seem to not believe it's real. But also we are expected to share bills with upstairs, which again, I don't know. the people upstairs. We don't have to interact with them. We never met them until we moved in. I might set up gas and then be like, okay, they need to pay me. First of all, how do I contact them? The only way I got contact details is because I emailed the estate agent and I said, what the fuck do you expect me to do? I can't just teleport money and make gas appear. So they eventually gave me one of the boys upstairs phone numbers. We now have a WhatsApp group, but what if they were bad people and just weren't responsive? Like, the bills are not technically either of our individual responsibilities. So like, I could sign up for paying gas and I could start paying gas and say, okay, everyone needs to send me £30 a month. They could just not do it. And legally, I don't really have a leg to stand on. Like, we then also share Wi-Fi with upstairs, which would be fine, but we don't have a Wi-Fi port downstairs. So like, the only Wi-Fi box in this 5-person house is upstairs. So we have pretty much no connectivity. And also we have to do a Virgin Media contract. Like, I think we share gas and water and Wi-Fi, and then we have electricity separately. But again, if my name was on the gas, they could just never pay me, and I don't have a legal leg to stand on because they've not necessarily signed a contract that says that they will pay me. I don't know, that all seems a bit shady. But also, even when we were signing up to pay bills, the property is always listed as separate properties, so we could sign up to pay gas for like flat 1 or for flat 2. You can't say I'm paying for both, but we are paying for both because there's one boiler for both flats. So you can't separate them, but they have to be separated on the websites. I don't really understand it. And like, there's nothing that we sign that proves that we will pay them or they will pay us. Again, not very well regulated. And speaking of bills, actually, when we moved in, we vividly remember seeing on the contract they'd written Virgin Media all over the top of it. We were told like Wi-Fi will be shared with upstairs, and we were also, I have vivid memories of this, and I think pretty much everyone who's in the contract has memories of the fact that they said something along the lines of like, the Wi-Fi is already in place, you just need to kind of join onto it. So we came here, and obviously also we've not spoken to the new tenants yet, we don't know who they are, so I can't just buy Wi-Fi and bring it here. We got here and there was no Wi-Fi, and I was sending them texts and I was like, babe, where is it? Is it a thing? Is it real? And they're like, we never said we would include Wi-Fi. I said, you pretty much told us there'd be a box here. So then we had to rapidly organise Wi-Fi. And also again, what if the people upstairs hadn't moved in, but I'd moved in, because I moved in when the contract started. What if none of them had moved in? I then just don't have Wi-Fi until they move in, because the only Wi-Fi connection is upstairs. I don't have keys to their flat. Like, that's stupid. Again, they're putting a lot of trust in strangers, which is just a dumb way to do it. We've then got just some them being stupid. Before we signed our contract and I think we sent them the deposit and first month's rent. And basically, I sent them the first month's rent and they couldn't find it. They said, oh, the transaction hasn't reached our account. I said, no, it has, it went 3 days ago. And they're like, no, we can't find it, it's not reached our account. I went, no, it has, just fucking look for it. So I sent them screenshots and they're like, oh, sorry, it has. I was like, so you're scaring me that I've just sent you what? I sent 700 quid to the wrong people and no one's telling me where that money's gone, you think it's not there. Then got another fun thing of them just being incompetent. So we got an email saying, we are missing a copy of ID for your flatmate's guarantor. And I said, that's not true, you're lying. I said, I've spoken to Jade and her guarantor, they've sent the ID over. It should be a copy of a driver's license. If it's not been found or has been lost, Jade, my flatmate's guarantor, would like to be called as this makes her feel uneasy, and it should have been kept safe in line with GDPR regulations, because as soon as you bring up the law, they go, fuck me. Oh, apologies, I looked at another property by accident. You damn fuck. Look at the right property. It's not that hard. We don't have common names. be better at your job. We then got moving in. Actually moving in was a fucking shit show. Our contract's supposed to start at 2, it was supposed to start at 12. They didn't let me in until 2. And then also when I arrived at 2 o'clock, they were still taking pictures of the inventory. They'd not done the inventory, but then also for our contract, we supposedly have to move out and hand them the keys by 10 a.m. on the day we're leaving, because they're like, we need time to check the property. You didn't check the property though. You won't be checking it straight away. Absolutely no way will you be doing that. So they came in and they were taking pictures, and eventually they pissed off, but again, it had been quite a while. Basically, I moved in, the flat still had all of the old tenants' shit here. They left blankets, they left all of their kitchenware, they left printers, they left hoovers, they left a TV stand was just out on the street. They left all their shit, and I was like, well, clearly you've not checked this property, you liars. We phoned King's Estate several times, and I said, you need to sort this out. So basically, it ended up that me and my mum had to move out the old tenants, which risk, like COVID was still kind of rife and we were moving all of their belongings. Doesn't feel very safe. We called about 3 people and also they seemed to keep forgetting, and then they asked for pictures, so I sent them pictures of all of the issues. Again, I don't think they communicated with each other, because a lot of the things I sent in the original email, the things that were broken, still haven't been fixed, because they then asked for another email for like specific things. And it's like, did they even check the first email? Like, we had a lot of things in the house that were actively broken, and then we also had things in the house that were just dirty. Like, a lot of the sockets that are like plugged into the wall, hanging out of the wall, not actually attached. Loads of the wallpaper in the rooms just peeling off. The bedroom window key was stuck in the window. It's not going to open, like it had broken off. The bottom drawer of a chest of drawers was just snapped. Most of the curtains were not attached at the top, and they still are not. A bathroom shelf was falling off the wall. The living room table wobbles if I breathe near it. They never fixed that. And the kitchen floor actively had holes in it. Cleaning, I then said, clearly the old tenants never cleaned this property nor moved themselves out. There was black mould on all of the windows. There was dust everywhere. The house had never been hoovered. I sent them a picture of black mould on the bath. The way they fixed it, they put sealant on it. That's not fixing it. They also then sent a cleaner who did not clean. She seemed to not have any products. She also didn't do my bedroom, and she said it was because I was sat in here. I offered to her, bitch, I'll leave, because funnily enough, if you've been asked and paid to clean a whole house, maybe you might want to clean the whole house. She also, the main problems was like the bathroom and the kitchen, and she clearly just wiped them over with surface cleaning. The cleaner cleaned. I sent them an email and I was like, babe, she didn't clean. She came back the next day because they paid her again. And then she was like, oh, what have I not done? And I was like, well, my bedroom, first of all, you actually just never did. And then second of all, the bathroom and the kitchen, you barely did. And she's like, no, I already did them, so I'm not going to do them. I was like, yeah, but you did them shit. You pretty much didn't do them, and therefore you should do them. So she only came back to clean my bedroom. I was like, well, by that point, it had been about 3 days since we'd moved in. I'd already cleaned my bedroom because I'd moved in. And basically, I sent them such a long email on the day I moved in, and I actually never got a single response to that. I think it was after that, I then realised that the wardrobe in Jade's room was literally falling off of the wall. So I sent them another email, and I sent them pictures of the issues. And I said, oh, further to this, the wardrobe is not attached here. So I sent them pictures and issues of everything, and they didn't really fix all of it. Like, they kind of just glued some wallpaper back on quite badly. They screwed a few things in, but we got carpets to cover up the holes in the kitchen. They didn't fix the table in the living room, which is, if you breathe near it, it will fall over and snap. The black mould they fixed by just putting white sealant over it, which, you know, maybe the cleaner should have cleaned that. So yeah, they never cleaned it, but at least legally we only have to clean this place to the quality or like the state that it was in when we moved in. So legally, we could not clean this place, but we are, you know, not arseholes, and we will clean it. But again, if we don't clean it that well and they try and take an ounce of our deposit, they can absolutely fuck off because it's illegal. There's another fun thing of, I think we were either, well, here's the thing, we were either broken into, we weren't broken into, or contractors came into our house in the morning, we then went away, so me and Jade were no longer in the house, and because the contractors had already given the 24-hour notice, I think they just came back when we were not there. Because I came back, me and Jade went away for a few days, I came back, and basically there's a chair that's outside of our bathroom door, nowhere near the bathroom door because why would you block it? Before we left we both pissed, so we used the bathroom. When I arrived back, the chair was in front of the bathroom door. I could not have got into the bathroom to piss if the chair was there, so how did it get there? And I sent them a picture and I was like, babe, this has been moved. And then they called me back, which they didn't normally call me but they responded to my email pretty quickly with a phone call, and they said, no, maybe you've just moved it and not remembered. Gaslighting fuckers. We then also had so many bug problems. Our bathroom window doesn't open, which seems like it should be illegal. There's also no extractor fan, they've just got a hole in the wall. It's like lightly covered. When we first moved in, it was a wood lice problem. It kind of became a spider problem, and we now get slugs as well. Now this is probably because of the damp in the bathroom because the window doesn't open, which I'm sure they'll blame on us. We sent them an email at the beginning saying, babe, look at how many fucking bugs there are, you might want to sort this out. And they're like, oh, pest controller said there's not a problem, but let us know if it gets worse. So I let them know that it got worse, and they said, this is a tenant's responsibility. I said, I don't fucking think it is. Yeah, they didn't do shit. They said that was our responsibility, that was our problem. But then they did come into our house with no notice. Well, they sent contractors to fix all the issues that they'd fucking caused, and then they came in with no notice and tried to gaslight us. So we woke up one day in middle of summer. I was under my covers in my pyjamas to two men at our door. Now we are two female students. That's quite frightening. They also had keys. They were opening the door to our house. I think they opened the first door, and we've got two doors, and then they knocked on the second door, and then obviously we didn't really respond because we were fucking sleeping, and then they came into our house and they were like, hee hee, we're supposed to be fixing some things. And I went, great. Legally we could turn them away, they've not given us 24-hour notice, but I'm not really turning people away. Although we got a British gas person saying, he was like, I want to read your meter. And I was like, I didn't know you were coming, I don't trust you, I can read it myself, piss off. Did tell him to leave. These people just kind of turned up, and they are the ones that put sealant over the black mould, so we know that they're qualified professionals. And they just kind of rocked up with no notice, and we kind of just let them in and went, yeah, fuck it, go for it, but also like, yeah. Then I think it was my flatmate's mum called King's Estate, and they kind of didn't really give her any details. They were like, babe, we don't know who you are. And I was like, you do, because she's guarantor. Then they called my flatmate, and I picked up because she's scared of phones, me too. They were basically like, oh, hi, so sorry, what were you calling about? I was like, babe, there's literally contractors in our house, it's kind of hashtag illegal. And then she was like, no, we told Saskia. I was like, do you think that we don't talk? Jade was sat in the kitchen, I was the one on the phone stood next to her, and they were like, no, we told Saskia contractors were coming. I was like, that's a barefaced fucking lie. So I was like, no, you fucking didn't. They're like, yeah, we did. So they did barefaced lie to us, and then eventually we got an email like a couple of hours later being like, oh, we'd like to apologise that you've not received an email from us about the visit taking place, and we're so sorry for the inconvenience caused. we will make sure to give a notice to the tenants of at least 24 hours. You mean you'd follow the law? They then, I think, called. They either called again or just at the end of that phone call, they were like, oh my God, sorry. I was like, just don't fucking do it. It's not that hard to give 24 hours notice. Like, they got better at it, but they didn't quite do it. We've had a lot of cases where it's been like 4 p.m. and they'll go, tomorrow at 11 a.m. a contractor's coming. It's not 24 hours, but at least it's notice. Like, they love to give us really wide fucking ranges of like times when someone's coming. They're like, oh, someone will come between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. Bitch, I've got shit to do. Like, sometimes they say, oh, you've got to be in the house. Sometimes they say, we'll just use the maintenance keys. Make a decision and pick one. We've had, oh, this is something I didn't write down. Our fridge freezer is broken. So when we moved in, our freezer was like super overfrosted, like to the point where you couldn't open the top drawer. We haven't been able to use the top drawer because it doesn't open. It defrosted once and we called them and we were like, babe, the freezer's like fucked. And they went, hee hee, turn it on and off again. It eventually fixed itself. I don't remember specifically when it broke this time, but like all of the food in the freezer was just soft. Like the mash was not there, the peas were not frozen, nothing was frozen. We emailed them and I'm not gonna lie, they took their sweet fucking time responding. They were then told us to defrost it and refrost it and we thought, fuck it, we're gonna have to do that. So we defrosted it and refrosted it and it didn't really fucking work. We have 4 drawers in our freezer. The top and bottom drawer, I think it is, or the bottom 2 drawers. 2 of the drawers don't freeze, 2 of the drawers do freeze. The fridge also isn't broken, but there was for some reason a period of time where just all of our bread went mouldy very, very rapidly. We were also, their way of like fixing it was they were like, can you send us pictures? So we sent them pictures of the outside of the fridge. What the fuck is that gonna help with? There's no switches there, there's nothing we can do. And then also, we FaceTimed the landlady and the landlady was like, oh yeah, your fridge is really full. We're 2 people, it's not full, it's pretty fucking empty. She's like, it's not gonna work that well if it's full. It's again, pretty fucking empty. And also, we were told, you've got a lot of plastic in there. Plastic doesn't get cold well. I don't know if she meant the one Tupperware container we had in there or the plastic wrapped bread, which has always been cold in a fridge. But either way, what the fuck? And she was then like, oh, will you 2 be okay like dealing with it until your end of contract so I can get someone to look at it? I was like, fuck it, I guess. But also, what the fuck? Like, I feel like we should get some kind of compensation for all of this shit. Like, I had to move out old tenants and also do a deep clean of the house. We had to live with bugs and mold and a wet bathroom. We had to live in a shithole. And we had to function with 2 freezer drawers. And also, I sat on my bed the other day and it broke. That was fun. And I sent an email and I was like, hey babe, sat on my bed and it broke. And they said, that's your responsibility. I said, I think I've heard this thing called fair wear and tear. And they said, shit, that's kind of the law. And they were like, oh, send us pictures. So basically, they don't trust students, they don't care about the law, especially if you're a student. If you're a student, fuck off. Basically, if you're gonna rent with them, fine, go for it. Might be a big bad boo-boo, but quite a lot of estate agents are quite big bad boo-boos. Get your parents to do most of it for you. Like, just say anything that goes wrong. Say, my parents will contact you. Tell them your parents are lawyers. Doesn't matter if they're not. As soon as you mention GDPR, Tenant Regulations, Tenant Act, they're shitting themselves because they know what they've done is illegal. Like, when we move out of here, guaranteed they're going to try and steal a deposit from us. Whether it be for the mould that was already here that we've already told them was a problem, the curtains that were never attached to the ceiling, that was probably our problem. The freezer that broke that we told them about, I'm sure we were paying for. The table that they never fixed, I'm sure that was our fault. They put a new gate outside. Our old gate got broken by a storm. They put a new gate outside and within about a week it broke. That was obviously our fault. I'm sure they'll try and charge us for cleaning even though the house was never clean to begin with. Basically, I'm not going to upload this obviously until we've got our full deposit back, and you'll get a little webcam Saskia talking to you about the deposit, but they're quite bad.
Hello, it is Editing Saskia. We finally got information back about our deposit on the 14th of July when we moved out 14 days ago, because they were just discussing with the landlady the deductions. It's all a scam. They're trying to, let me get the actual list, but they're trying to take £15. Well, first of all, they just sent us a list. No pictures, no evidence, nothing to support any of their claims. Just a list that says we'd like these charges, and I've said no. They also re-asked for our bills, but we've already sent them all of our final bills. So again, I said, do you fucking want them, or have you lost them? Because it sounds like you've lost them. They want to charge us for, there are some reasonable things. Okay, there are 2 reasonable things. The oven tray was stained. That's fine, that was me. I accept responsibility. And the top freezer drawer I broke. Fair. But that's £15 out of like 200 that they're trying to take. And also, I will pay all of it, I'm happy with that. But the only reason that the freezer drawer broke was because our freezer has been broken. We didn't have a functioning freezer for the last entire month of the tenancy. And when it was functioning, the top drawer didn't open. Because the ice was like blocking, the ice was like hanging down, which meant that even though like the tray was meant to go there, it didn't, and the tray, the what's it called? The drawer basically broke when I was trying to open it. Fair, told them I'll pay it, don't care. Everything else, not fair, absolute bullshit. Number 1, a socket hanging out of the wall, which I told them of last year on July the 7th when I moved in. If you've watched any of my YouTube videos, you can also see it progressively falling out of the wall more because I told them about it and they didn't fix it. We've then got a stain on Jade's wardrobe, which was there when we moved in, and again, we have photos of. They've just said like 3x netted curtains, which must be in the front room in Jade's room, but they've not said what was wrong with them, and also, they're still there. Like, they look the exact same as when we moved into them. I don't understand that one, but again, I'm not paying that. What else was it? I'm going to find the list. I'll be back. Oh yeah, missing window key. They called me about this the other day and I said, okay, but which window key? And they said, we don't know. How do you fucking know it's missing then? So I replied back and I was like, babe, all the window keys we had are there. You can see them all in photos. But again, which fucking window key is it? Discuss. They also, my mattress is apparently stained and apparently so is the bed frame. Now hear me out, I had 2 mattress protectors on it. How would I even stain the mattress, the bed frame? So again, I've asked for pictures because that's a blatant lie, we're not paying that. And then I sent them pictures from the inventory, which all that's actually happened is we had stains on the top left of the mattress. Because I sat on the bed and it broke because it's really bad quality, I turned the mattress around, so now the stains are on, no, they were on the top right and then now on the bottom left. They've moved sides. That was me creating stains, that was me causing problems. We then have 2 very cheeky cunt moves, which absolutely not paying, and these are split between us and the upstairs tenants. So number 1 is we have a gate into our property, which is so fucking useless. Literally doesn't need to be there, which is broken. That was apparently our fault. First of all, why are we responsible for the gate outside of the property? How do you expect us to keep that safe? In my email back to them, I've literally said, I don't know what you expect me to do. How do you expect me to protect that gate? Third of all, or second of all, don't remember where I was going, but we used to have a gate there. We came back from Christmas and it was broken from a storm, and then they just fixed it. They came and put a new one up. Why is this one something that we've broken? It was clearly broken by a storm, and even if it wasn't, we live on a student road. Someone probably kicked it down. 1, how am I meant to protect that? 2, why was it our fault second time round but not first time round? Like, surely the fact that it's broken before shows you that it could break very easily. They then also want to charge us for cleaning of the laundry room, which is shared between us and upstairs. And yes, the laundry room is utterly disgusting. Like, horrible, horrible, horrible. But it came in that condition. It's a genuine health risk. I do not trust that room. It's disgusting. But it's more clean than when we moved in, because I wiped down the surface a tiny bit because it was literally like black mould, and I emptied the bin. It was not cleaned when we moved in. The cleaner did not clean it when they came because, again, we moved into a dirty house. I'm not paying for that. So I basically sent them back an email saying, fuck off, this is not happening. Hello girlies, it is many days after that update. Turns out I just didn't film another update, but basically they sent us the email and then I sent one saying, they basically said, we're going to discuss it with the landlord. I was like, fine, great, whatever, blah 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 blah. And then they sent a few pictures and I was like, okay, but can we have the rest of the pictures that supposedly warrant these changes? Then I sent them evidence for the socket, I sent them evidence for the mattress. We then got sent another email 5 days ago which had the revised deductions proposed by the landlord. So we still have a front bedroom missing a key. We never had that key, they've never proven that they gave us that key. We have a stain on a wardrobe which was there when we moved in, but basically the pictures from the inventory, you can only see the stain if you like look at certain angles, because it's not like a white wardrobe and the stain is blue. It's a brown wardrobe that's clearly been sprayed with some kind of cleaning product by the last tenants, which has like left it like the shine has gone. And the pictures of the inventory, you can't see it like directly. You can kind of see it, like you can see it enough that I can see it. They can't see it. They've then also said the socket, which I told them of the day I moved in, like a whole year ago. I told them that it was an issue. I sent them pictures of proof and they're like, yeah, this has to have come from misuse. How do you misuse a socket? Like, discuss. Then they said I have to clean the mattress, but then they've also sent a picture of the bed frame, not the mattress, both of which I have evidence were dirty when we moved in. We then they added a new charge after we started disputing because they're cheeky cunts, and they're basically trying to charge me 90 quid for a bed. I sat on the bed and one of the slats broke. I sent them emails of this as soon as it happened and they were like, oh yeah, you'll have to pay for that. And I was like, I've checked the law and I'm pretty certain that's fair wear and tear. Like, unless I'd been jumping on that bed, I sat on it once. They've not told me how old the bed was, probably because it's very old. And also, I don't think it would cost 90 quid to fix. It's one slat. So they sent us that again. And they've also, in like the information for that, they've said, oh, also the tenant reported this damage and was informed that this would result in a cost if not replaced / repaired, and they attached the email. What they didn't attach was after I sent them the email saying it's broken and they sent you have to pay, what they didn't include was the next set of emails when I sent this is fair wear and tear, and they said, oh yes, please send more pictures. If it had been a problem, they probably would have mentioned it before I moved out when they were aware of it. They would have replied to that email and said, oh, we've checked, we don't think it's fair wear and tear. But they didn't. They've only added it now because we got rid of other charges because they were illegal. We've then got freezer drawer, fine, that's damaged, oven, fine, net curtains partially visible. Again, they never expanded on that, so they put no charge because it wasn't a thing. Contribution to clean the laundry room, no charge, because would you look at that? They've got no pictures, they can't prove it. The gates, they then said, because of some doubt, we think £5 would be reasonable. So was it our fault or wasn't it our fault? Why is the second time the gate broke our fault, but the first time the gate broke it wasn't our fault? And like, why is all it took is us saying prove it for them to drop it from like what, £45 per person to £5 per person? Or is it £20? I don't know. Then replied to that email and basically told them they were lying. So we were never given a key. The second one with the stain I sent more pictures of. The third one of the socket I sent more evidence of. Basically I replied and told them, yeah, it's all a load of shit. I also said, please send us invoices for the cleaning and the repairs, because what they've not done is send us any invoices. Like, even if they've not done the cleaning and repairs yet, which they should have probably legally done before they've moved the other tenants in, they should have sought out some kind of invoice for this just to justify the fact that it's £90 or justify the fact that it's £20. They've not provided us with an invoice for any of this. We also then just said, we will be submitting a dispute via our deposit company as this is not going to resolve. We've spoken to other renters who have advised us to do this as the charges you are making are not reasonable. They then replied, good morning, I've sent your reply to the landlord and we've been notified by your deposit company, blah blah blah. So now we're submitting a dispute through our deposit company, which means this video will go up in like September, because I think it said it will take 2 to 3 months to return our deposit. Yeah, basically they're trying to keep a lot of illegal charges. It's illegal. They don't like it when we remind them that it's illegal. And I want to see, is the landlady going to suddenly be like, oh my god, no, we can't charge them this because we've then said we've submitted a deposit, like a dispute. We've submitted the dispute, they're reviewing it. But also in the email from the estate agents, they said like, oh, we've been notified by blah 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 that they are checking your request to see if it meets the acceptance criteria. It does. I don't know if they're saying that in like a don't get your hopes up, it won't get accepted. It does. The acceptance criteria is pretty much just that you've not withheld rent and you have asked for your deposit back, which we have done, and you haven't been able to settle a deposit dispute, which we have also done. Yeah, but also the deposit company emailed me this morning and they were like, can you send us the pictures? Because I sent them all the pictures, but I sent them all just like attached to a Word document, and then I also sent them a link to a Google Photos. And they sent me an email saying, can you send us all the pictures individually so that they have the date attached to them? But if I download them from the Google Photos, the date modified becomes today's date. So then they can't be proven that they came from then. And on Google Photos, you can only attach like 6 pictures per email. And I've got 157 pictures. So I've resent them the link to Google Photos. But I don't really know how we're supposed to share them, because if I put them on Drive, the date modified becomes today because they've moved from Photos to Drive. If I download them from Photos and upload them, the date modified becomes today. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do about that one, but we're disputing it, babes. Welcome to Webcam Saskia. Basically, we got our deposit back. So, I think the last email that we got was them saying like we've been notified that you've registered a claim and they're checking to see whether it meets the initial acceptance criteria. It obviously met the acceptance criteria because we've not done anything that is against the acceptance criteria. Then, 2 days later, they sent us an email saying, we've been on the phone with the landlord and here is a revised proposal, in which I don't actually think they removed anything. Oh, they removed a key that was missing, which they never gave us, and they can't prove they gave us because it was not given to us. And I think that's literally it. Oh, and some stains on the wardrobe, which they seem to think that we've thrown drinks at the wardrobe even though they were there when we moved in, but like we must have thrown drinks at them. So I sent them an email saying, no babe, we're going to carry on with the my deposit dispute. We submitted all our evidence. We submitted a ton of evidence, like so many time and date stamped pictures, because funnily enough, we don't go into this half-hearted, and it's not even on us to prove that we didn't cause the problems. It's for them to prove that we did, and they didn't. They then sent us an email on August the 3rd saying, oh, we've reached an agreement to return the disputed amount. So basically, after we submitted all their evidence, they had 20 working days to submit all of their evidence. They either didn't have enough, didn't want to, or knew that regardless of what evidence they had, they would lose. So we got our full deposit back. Only took so very long. They did also felt like they were being a bit snarky in their email, because afterwards they then said, oh, please note, you have raised a dispute for £1,023 when the disputed amount was actually £130. However, first of all, that's not really true, because they are still technically not giving us our full deposit of £1,023. It's not just the £130 that they were keeping hostage. Second of all, I literally emailed the My Deposits company. No, the My Deposits company literally emailed me and told me to change it from when I'd put the disputed amount was 130 to the actual disputed amount, which was the £1,000. So, don't really see why they felt the need to bring that up or mention it, but I'd like to clarify, they were fucking lying. And you know what I'd now like to do? First of all, finish this video and export it. I filmed this video so long ago, but I have got my deposit back and I have used pretty much most of it to pay for my gym membership, and by that I mean not actually that much of it. I I'm now going to leave them a Google review because all of their Google reviews are so bad, but like they always reply with a very snarky response back to the Google review, and it's like, actually I'd like to add some truth to this, and then they say loads of stuff that like, I don't know, I'm trusting the reviewer, I'm not trusting the estate agents. Or they said, we have no record of you, but like most people's Google account name is not going to be like their full name. So yeah, that saga is over. Basically, first of all, don't rent with King's Estates, and if you're going to rent, dispute the deposit. Don't care how much they're trying to keep, because here's the thing, we agreed to £15 of charges. We probably could have not agreed to them and got the full deposit back, but like I didn't care, because those two things were like, yes, I did break a freezer drawer, yes, the kitchen oven was a bit dirty. Like, that's not really things that I'm like, that is literally an illegal claim you're trying to make. So I didn't feel bad about those, but also I definitely could have got those back. Dispute everything. Landlords are scum and lazy, and they will not carry on with the deposit process because they don't want to. But yeah, I've moved into my new house in Nottingham, and might get a room tour when I am not scared to talk, even though I have, the only reason I'm talking now is because my one person who's here has just gone Sainsbury's, but I have literally got tutoring all of next week, so like I will be talking, so maybe once I've done some tutoring it'll feel a bit easier. Right now I don't want to shut my door and go, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. That's embarrassing. It is.
Don't recommend. I don't think there's any estate agents I really recommend though. Like Posh Pads is shit, King's Estates is shit, Student No Fee is not the worst. I can't really think of any others. Oh, I've heard shit things about, I think it's Anstey. None of them are very good, but also if you challenge them, they do back down a lot. Like with our deposit, I can guarantee they'll put 100 things on there, and I'll challenge them and they'll immediately start removing things because there's actually no justification for having us pay for those things. So yeah, that's our little estate agent story. Really fun. We just live in such a lovely place. It's such a nice little house. It's so well kept. Like it's a much nicer house than we had last year, but it's also had so many more problems than we had last year. And the estate agents kind of hate me and won't stop calling me an immigrant when I'm not one, which, whew, that bloody challenged my identity, because what if I am an immigrant? What if they've convinced me I am one? I don't think I am, but you never know when you get told you're one for so long. Challenges my British roots, you know, maybe I'm not a Brit. But yeah, that is everything. A lot of the estate agents here suck. I would say don't rent with any of them, but you've got to find a house. And I'll see you in whatever my next video is.